Okay, greetings everyone, and welcome to my Sunday the 23rd of August 2022 live stream. We're calling this one Just One Big Advert, or is it just one big advert? First, I'd like to start by saying a warm greetings to Mudlark Digging at the Thames, who has since had to say their goodbyes, but maybe I'll be back later. Michelle from Oz, Susan Byrne, let's see, KG, Crazy Hippo Lady, and NR. Thanks all for taking the time to say hello in the live chat. If anyone else wants to pop in and say hi, it's always appreciated. And if you've got any particular stories you want us to look at, then I certainly will. Let me just check the audio sounding alright at the moment. Yes. Hopefully I'm not coming across too loud or too bassy or squeaky or stuttery. We'll see. Hopefully the audio is sounding good. Right, an update from last week actually. Oh no, actually no, before we go on there, I'll just hide this image, as I would like to say a big thank you to my supporter over on Patreon, Linda Mack. You can do likewise by scanning the QR code on the screen at the moment. Another way you could kindly support this channel, my YouTube channel, is by just hitting the like button, subscribing if you're not already, and if you want to share it on social media, that is always also appreciated. Okay, yeah, an update from last week then. Yeah, by the way, we do have a main subject that we're going to look at tonight, although it could cover all sorts of things, a couple of different things that it will cover. Subjects, and asking the question, is it all just an advert? And if you're not sure what I mean by that, hopefully you will be by the end of our stream. We'll probably go on till about 11:30 British time, which is an hour and a half from now. We'll see how we go. Yeah, I appreciate everyone taking the time to tune in tonight. If you were with us last week, you'll know that at the beginning I mentioned one of the lovely cats that come to visit us. I call him the lovely Mr. White. Sorry if you're not a cat person, but hopefully you're at least an animal person and you can appreciate how you get attached to the animals that we see around us. I certainly do. At the moment, we've got a host of different cats that come and visit us. Mr. White being one of them. He did go missing for a while. I did find out actually from one of the neighbours that he was involved in actually they're not sure what happened. Apparently he went missing for 4 days and then returned to his home. I want to bring up some pictures. Well, yeah, I showed some last week, in last week's stream. So hopefully, hang on, let me just turn off I'm getting a warning that my encoder is being overloaded, so let's see what we can do about that. Probably not much. Right, I'm going to share my screen a moment and I will show you a picture. Yeah, the white cat. Apparently they kept him in for a few weeks for a couple of weeks because he'd come back all injured. And during that time he lost a lot of weight. But I'm pleased to say that he is now actually looking a lot healthier. Don't be too surprised if my channel kind of starts, or maybe at least my other channel, Chronicles of the Unconvinced, if I start maybe mentioning my animals more than anything. We'll see how that goes out. But anyway, yeah, he's looking a bit stronger. He's still with us. That's a good thing, because I was a bit worried when I saw him looking in such a poor condition. But yeah, I'm pleased to say he's looking a bit healthier. We see him a couple of times a week. Anyway, more cat info. Let's see. A new one has started coming over. Not that one. Let's see, where is he? Let me just line the picture up. Yeah, that was the lovely Mr. White we just had on the screen then. And then out of absolutely nowhere, we've had over the years black and white cats, black cats, white cats. And this one isn't quite sure what he wants to be, I think. One thing I can tell you, he's a real cutie. He is a really nice cat. He's an older one. He's not like one of these other kittens that have been coming round. Yeah. However, my actual real cat, Tom, the one who lives with us and has been with us for 13 years, didn't, he took a disliking to him and he chased the poor thing out of the garden. In fact, every picture you see of Tom, he'll probably be sleeping, looking really relaxed, but yeah, when he sees a cat that he doesn't like, then he will chase him out of the garden. Right, final cat, the star of the show, the one that keeps coming back at the moment, is this one. I say star of the show, it's just, he's always hanging around at the moment. And we call him Peach on account of the colour of his collar. Anyway, that's the catch up. I hope you don't mind me sharing my cat stories with you. Yeah, anyone who caught last week's stream will know we discussed Archie pretty heavily. Oh, KG says he is beautiful. Thank you ever so much. Yeah, I think they're all great. It's very difficult to turn them away. Now, what with it being the summer, we have our back door open, we've got cat food down, and they just come on in. We don't really have much to say in the matter. I'm well aware they all look really well. They're well looked after. They obviously belong to someone who loves them. So no way would we ever try and keep someone else's cat. But we can't help them come into our back door. We don't shoo them away. Susan Burns says, all good with the cat chat up. Yeah, the cat chat up. I spent quite a lot of Friday, probably a bit of Thursday and a fair bit of Friday working on a video. It was mainly a cut down of last week's live stream, just looking at the major points of the Archie story, or at least what we covered of it. There is so much more, it's unbelievable. I will return to it at some point. But the video I put up, I had to take down for one reason or another. Because that is one subject that is going to get people riled up, obviously, naturally. Some young kid being on a life support, and then some other person just comes out of nowhere and starts saying that, even questioning its existence. Do I actually know what the situation is? No. I'm looking at it with one pair of eyes. All I can go on is my experience, or just knowing how much mainstream media lies, how everything seems to be an advert for something. Will this story with Archie turn out just to be an advert? Which isn't to say anything about the, legitimacy of what's being reported, although I don't trust what's being reported either one way or another. It doesn't go down well when you start questioning, any of these stories. I would say every story I've ever done, starting with the likes of, what was his name? The Lion of London, Roy Larner. I got a load of negative feedback from that, you could say. People threatening to track me down and stuff. They never did it. Even when I told them what city I lived in, they still couldn't find me. When I covered, who was that girl that claimed she got repeatedly gang raped at the hands of kidnappers in Africa? I can't remember her name. The story was a complete load of rubbish, as you can imagine. And it all ended up being just one big advert for a series of books that they released. That was, I want to know the name. I've got a video about it on my channel. I'll have to. What else? Obviously, calling out Ashley Kane and Safi Varanin, who are reporting that their child's dying of leukemia, and here's someone coming out suggesting they might be full of spit. It doesn't go down well with the people who these stories have emotionally touched, which of course they're going to, because they're such emotive stories that how can you fail to react one way or another? Either absolute disgust that such a thing is being used to fill the airwaves, as it was, the mainstream are selling their news reporting off the misery and death of these people, and when someone comes out and suggests that it might not be that way, it goes down like a sack of spuds, you could say. not popular. Then probably the biggest what would you say? The biggest comeback I've ever got on a video, in terms of volume anyway, not in terms of vitriol, but in terms of the amount of people responding, was the ones I made about, I can't think of his name now, Jack Quickenden, or Jake Quickenden, whatever he's called, and his fake baby Leo. Yeah, I'm convinced that baby's a fake from start to finish. That went down at, lovers of Jack Quickenden, or bots, whatever you want to call it, they basically flooded the comments section on my videos, pointing out how wrong I was. None of them could offer anything more than anecdotal evidence. Here I was sharing information from like people that specialists on baby care, basically, who were clearly saying babies are not able to hold their heads up until 3 weeks, usually 3 to 4 weeks. No, actually, sorry, that's just when they get enough muscle control to start moving their head. To actually hold it up, they reckon it's something like 2 to 3 months. Anyway, here was these babies after a matter of 10 days, 20 days, all being able to crawl up their people's chests and whatnot. It's absolutely crazy. Didn't go down well calling that one out either. And then the one which probably people were most in agreement with, actually, was obviously Harry and Meghan. I know I picked up a lot of subscribers from putting those videos out on this channel. But yeah, well, I got a lot of people accusing me of doing the video because the Meghan is black, as they would say. I don't believe she's black, really. Probably a Caucasian male. What do the police call it? IC1 male or something? I don't know what that means, but I've heard it said in these police programs where they radio in to report whoever the mischief maker is. And if they're a white male, they call them an IC1 or something. I don't know. I'm guessing the C could be Caucasian. KG says, my neighbours are very nice, but they believe everything on the television. Yeah, unfortunately, KG, I also am surrounded by people that accept every word they see, to the point, in fact, where they will absolutely let it dominate their lives. They'll give over their lives to what they're being told on television. What? The news is telling me I shouldn't go out for the next 3 months. It gets worse, actually. I saw an article earlier suggesting that some people are still, they called it shielding. Even 2 years later, they still haven't dared to go out their house. I feel incredibly sorry for these people. The picture we've got up on the thumbnail of this video is another variant which can reinfect you every single month, and it's outpacing all the other strains. Yeah, you realise these strains are all theoretical, I believe. They're saying, well, yeah, I believe it's all based on mathematics, or on what they predicted would happen in whatever that thing was called they did back in the end of 2019. I think they did something called, not as blatant as Agenda 20, but it was some look at it. It was a simulation of how badly a virus could take over the world, and within a couple of months they were telling us a virus is about to take over the world. Some people got extremely rich off of it. Some people are still getting extremely rich off of it. Other people lost everything. Lost the job they had, lost family members, never got to say goodbye to members of their own family. All based on what a man on television was telling them. Tragic, really, if you ask me. Not a popular opinion with YouTube, of course, this one. It's the sort of thing where YouTube will say, what, you're not allowed to say that. Get off this channel. So, yeah, if that happens, there are a few other places you can catch my work, but anyway, Event 2001, thank you, Misha, that was the name of it. Yeah, that was ridiculously, I probably have looked at it on this live stream. And I could be wrong. I'm sure I saw the same thing being done again with, I don't know if it was chickenpox flu or whatever they call it. Do they call it chicken flu? I can't remember now. Misha has shared a link which we will look at in 1 second. Right, let's see. I'm going to share my screen in a minute and we'll start looking at some of the subjects for tonight. My computer's struggling a bit, I'm afraid, because I shared all those pictures of cats. It's crippled it by the look of it. Alright, working yet? Sorry guys, just waiting for the computer to sort itself out. We will hopefully be there in a minute. Mudlark's returned. You had to take a phone call, no problem, Mudlark. Glad you could return. You've joined us at a stage where my computer's ground to a halt. I'm sure it'll wake up in a minute once it realises. Okay, I think we're there now. Right. Looks like I might have to quit a few programs. We'll see. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll have a look at this one. I'll show my display 1 second. Hang on, I'm just trying to sort my computer out. Yeah, hopefully before I start, I'll just check that everything's running smoothly. Yeah, audio sounds okay. Right, Event 2001. Have I ever looked at it on this? I mean, I certainly will not be the first person that has ever looked at this story. Hopefully you can see it okay. And I'm also curious what the link was that... hang on. Right. We're getting there. We'll be there in a minute. Centre for Health Security. This is the link by Michel. Once my computer sorts itself out, we'll be having a look. And also we're going to look at this before we go anywhere. About the Event 201 exercise. It was a 3.5 hour pandemic tabletop exercise. I hope you can all read this. Dare I put it into reading mode? Or will it crash the computer? It was a 3.5 hour pandemic tabletop exercise that simulated a series of dramatic... Oh, can you read that? Dramatic scenario-based facilitated discussions. When did this take place, by the way? I'm not sure if they... Okay, a series of dramatic scenario-based discussions confronting difficult, true-to-life dilemmas associated with response to a hypothetical but scientifically plausible pandemic. This was all done in 2019, by the way, before BS19 reared its ugly head. 15 businesses, government and public health leaders were players in the simulated exercises that highlighted unresolved real-world policy and economic issues that could be solved with sufficient political will. What does that mean? Get in their way, basically. If the world does what we want, then we could make an absolute killing financial investment. That's the very next thing they say. And attention now in the future. The exercise, which is all it was, consisted of a pre-recorded news broadcast Yeah, I bet. How much of what we watch during, well, even now is pre-recorded, live staff briefings and moderated discussions on specific topics. These issues were carefully designed in a compelling narrative that educated the participants and the audience. The Johns Hopkins Centre for World Economic Forum, they come up a lot. Keep hearing about these people. And the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation jointly propose these recommendations. Yeah, I wonder what that is. Make sure everyone stays at home. Make sure every shop in the world's shut down. And make sure everyone's sticking probes up their noses before they consider themselves healthy. Purpose. In recent years, the world has seen a growing number of events, amounting to approximately 200 annually. There's only 200 events happen every year. Forget that. Oh, epidemic, right, epidemic events, gotcha. These events are increasing, and they are disruptive to health, economies, and societies. Managing these events already strains global capacity. What? If even absent a pandemic threat. So even without a pandemic going on, it's already straining global capacity just to manage them. Experts agree that it is only a matter of time before one of these epidemics become global. That is what you call foreshadowing. Less than 3 months later, the first reports of Bullspit 19 started. I remember the first ones I heard were, I think it was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, they first started talking about people dying of it or people catching it. I don't know what your memory's like on that one. A pandemic with potentially catastrophic consequences. Yet we had some catastrophic consequences, not because people were getting ill though, but because government had basically shut everyone down. A severe pandemic, which becomes Event 201, would require reliable cooperation among several industries, national governments, and key international institutes. So all the world governments had to agree. Funny that the majority of them did go along with, they all chose the same course of action. Hi to Tondal in the live chat, good to see you. Avian flu, yep. That was another one that they covered. What was the one that I went and took a prick for? Because I worked in a job that they said was that if you caught this particular thing, it could be harmful. So I went and got pricked for swine flu, that was it. Goodness knows what they stuck into me. I bet it was something pork pig related, but right. Recent economic studies show that pandemics will cause an average annual economic loss. What they mean by that is expenditure. Basically, governments around the world will spend 570 billion. That's what they mean by loss. They mean loss from the public directly to companies. Great for a couple of economies. The players' response to the scenario illuminated the need for cooperation among industry. They're the ones who agreed to say, yep, we're going to shut everything up. National governments, yep, they forced it on their people like it was a law. It wasn't. It was government advice. No more than advice. And advice I certainly wasn't interested in taking. And key international institutions and civil society to avoid the catastrophic consequence that could arise from a large-scale pandemic. Wow. I don't know what Clade X, Dark Winter and Atlantic Storm are. Are they the names of the actual... they were previous exercises aimed to educate senior leaders, basically to convince senior leaders how much money they could make out of it. Right, where was the recommendations? We'll have a look at the link shared by Michel in a minute. Open link in new tab. Before we look at that, we will jump over to... was that the same link Michel sent, I wonder? Where are we? Right. So yeah, just out of interest, Misha, if you are in there, yeah, if you still did you send a link to the same thing? Am I right in thinking? Right. What do you think they recommended in all this? Let's just switch that to public, private. Do you find it easier to read like this or that? Or you can download these. Personally, I think it's easier for you guys to read without me having to zoom in if I do it like this. The next severe pandemic will not only cause great illness and loss of life, you see, great illness occurred, obviously, of course it would, and loss of life. People die like they do every day of the week, but could also trigger major cascading economic and societal consequences that could, goodness me, yeah, Michelle is absolutely right when she says it's word salad. That is exactly what it is. I just want to see what they recommend. During a severe pandemic, public sectors will control the outbreak and are likely to become overwhelmed. That never happened. If swiftly and appropriately, basically everyone that went into hospital, you only went in for one reason. So, yeah, and it was all dealt with on one or two wards. Depending on what hospital you're in, of course. I'm looking here for them to see whether they ever suggested everyone should self-isolate or whatever. I expect it. Let's see. Let's do a search for the word isolate. Nope. They do not use the word isolate. What about mask? Nope, they don't use the word mask. Vaccine. Yes, funnily enough, vaccine does come up. 6 times actually. Industry, national governments and international organisations should work together to enhance stockpiles of medical countermeasures to enable rapid and equitable distribution. The World Health Organization currently has an influenza vaccine virtual stockpile, whatever that means. It's not a real stockpile, virtual. With contracts in place with pharmaceutical companies have agreed to supply. I bet they do. As one possible approach, the model could be expanded to augment the World Health Organization's ability to distribute vaccines. And to be honest with you, they pay newsreaders to read this crap, and I'm not going to do it for them. So I just see, I'm not going to read it all, put it that way. Okay. Any more? Government should provide more resources and support the development and surge manufacturing of vaccines. Diagnostics, of course. They may not have wrote tests, but they certainly meant it. That will. Any more? We've got 2 more apparently. Come on. They should provide more resources and support for the development and surge manufacturing of vaccines. Bear in mind who has a big investment in vaccine manufacture is, of course, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We'll have a quick look at what they do. They're all over their vaccines, so look up. No, okay, I didn't want to do it like that. Right, Bill and Melinda. Yeah, Melinda Gates is the most, I know I spelled her name wrong, most unconvincing looking woman I've ever seen. I mean, come on. Foundation. Ugh. Right, we'll just have a look at they're a 501c3 organisation. Does that mean they don't pay tax? I'm pretty sure it does. And funnily enough, Microsoft offer you a way to donate. Yeah, they give out grants. Gotcha. Grants for what, I wonder? Alright, we'll go on their website just quickly. Of course, Microsoft partner with, I don't know. Yeah, look at this. This is Melinda the Man Gates. I don't know how well you can see him, but as I say, the least convincing woman you'll probably see in a long time. And to be honest with you, Bill Gates isn't a particularly convincing man, so who knows what that means. We'll try and get a close-up on them. See how long this one takes. Enna mentions Damilola Taylor. Wow, that is... Yeah, I do remember that happening. Yeah, to be honest, that happened. Damilola Taylor. We'll get onto that in a minute. But for me, it was one of those things that happened when I believed the news. So I always think they're harder to break away from. Yeah, what do you think? For me, the giveaway... Oh my goodness, right, hang on. The giveaway on this person is the arms. They're pretty masculine. Oh, right, it's done that. That lady's watch looks pointless. Yeah, it looks ridiculous on that huge manly hand. And then now here's a picture of the vile Bill Gates. KG mentions the Anne Heck crash and the death is suspicious. To be honest, I know very little about Anne Heck. Is she not just another media person? Right, let me... Interestingly, the people that you see Bill and Melinda with in these pictures are probably the very people that will eventually, feel their wrath, you could say. Who knows, we'll see. KG says the feds murdered a lot of chickens in Iowa. Is that... Oh, with avian flu. Yeah, well, with BSL? No, BSL, sorry. I've got to let a cat in a second, but with BSE, the mad cow disease they call it, yeah, apparently farmers just had to burn off all their cattle. Absolutely crazy. Sorry guys, I'll be back in 1 second. I'll leave you looking at Bill and Melinda's vile website. 1 minute. Sorry, just had to let the cat through. Yes, this is the kind people. Which one of these do you think works for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation? Both of them, perhaps? Oh, look at all those collaborating against COVID. Yeah, of course, they're all over this. And here's their numbers. Right. They got 6.7 billion and they've only reached 1,381 grants. That doesn't seem... Look, who's to say they didn't give a grant to every single employee? They could have done. They... Program strategies, 41. Okay. And one of those strategies involves handing, with your gloved hands, a G2 net, malaria eradication. Do we buy that? Oh, those little bugs. Mosquitoes really spreading malaria around Africa. Who knows? Never been there. But if we've listened to Bill Gates speak in the past, I don't think he's too worried about African people. The way he said it, yeah. Right. Yeah, I was talking about BSE, the cattle mad cow disease, as they call it. Yeah, I knew of farmers who had to basically, these people that earn their living milking cows, which okay is a bit of an inhumane treatment plan to put these cows through, but yeah, and then they basically grow them and send them off to the abattoir where they get murdered. It's not a business I support by any means. I don't, I don't buy into meat. It's not something I do, but whatever, we all have our own choices. This is something we're going to look at tonight. Tomato flu. This is just the latest one, as you said, avian flu. We've had it all really. I'm sure they've done chicken now. Is it chicken flu? No, of course, chicken pox. That is their version of it. But yeah, here's the latest one. The first place I saw this one was on the PK Truth YouTube channel. I noticed he had done something about tomato flu. Did you know you could get flu off a tomato? Well, if someone else in the room has been near that tomato, then yes, you can. Apparently it's called this because of tomato-sized blisters you supposedly get on your body. So if this was a real thing, you would think they would have pictures of tomato-sized blisters, right? Let's see what pictures they give us. Medical experts in India battling a spread of yet another virus. According to Lancet study, and yeah, so not because loads of people have been... Alright, they recorded as many as 82 cases of tomato flu or tomato fever since the virus was first reported in Kerala on May the 6th. The common infection disease targets mostly children aged 1 to 5 years and immunized adults. That's everyone who took the government's treatment plan, I'm guessing. Who knows? I'm not going there. I don't know. I know a lot of people that took that treatment plan, and I really hope they're not going to be seriously injured from it. Could also be a new variant of hand, foot, and mouth disease. That was another one, foot and mouth disease. Some case studies have even shown hand, foot, and mouth disease in immunocompetent adults. That's the rest of us. That's those who are prepared to trust their own immune system to fight off viruses, bugs, or whatever. If you want to trust in the human, basically say my body's competent to fight off these illnesses, I don't need doctors. I don't need your prescription, thank you very much. If you're fortunate enough to be in that situation, then you could still be at risk. Tomato flu was first, yeah, we've read all this. Right. I'm sure it said somewhere, symptoms, sorry. Similar to those of chikungunya, which I think they've already told us is foot and mouth disease. High fever, rashes, and intense joint pains. Funnily enough, that is very similar to those experienced by COVID-19 patients. Really? So you're saying all this time it could have been tomato soup virus. Other symptoms include swelling. I'm sure it said somewhere about tomato-sized tomato-sized scabs that you get. The treatment is similar to the treatment of chikungunya, hand, foot and mouth disease. Patients are advised to isolate, rest, plenty of fluids and hot water, sponge for relief of irritation and rashes. And they prescribe paracetamol. Hang on, yeah, we're not getting the pictures that we do in the other one. Of course, so they've said, yeah, you get a bad rash. Oh, that's crafty. They've removed the pictures. Oh no, here they are. These are supposedly the tomato-sized boils that you can get on the hand. Or at least that's what they've... Let's see, yeah, I'm sure they've made that claim. Anyway, oh, here we go. The flu was named on the basis of the eruption of red and painful blisters throughout the body that gradually enlarged to the size of a tomato. That is how deadly and dangerous and horrible this disease is. Can you not show us anything more than a child's hand with what looks like some red spots on it? Could be mosquito bites, let's not rule that out. Could be anything. Could just be blisters, of course. But yeah, apparently this child's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 tomato-sized scabs on their hands soon. Crazy stuff. Madlak says, I was just thinking about all the injections we were forced to take as children. Who knows what was put inside us? Probably something to pacify people and lower their IQs. Yeah, I'll tell you a memory I've got from school. When we were about... we didn't get them all the time. I'm sure I got them before I started school. And then, when we were teenagers, probably about 14, I remember we all had to go into the cafeteria and have, it was something squirted in your mouth and an injection on your arm. And I'm sure they said it was the MMR jab, I believe. One kid behind me, I remember, because we were all called into an assembly to be told about it the day before we had it. Right, hang on a second. And one of the kids behind me, he started collapsing because... Yeah, I could feel his legs under my chair kicking into me, and he'd passed out just from the thought of taking a shot. I'm not sure what happened with him. Some people just have such an adverse reaction to even the thought of it. Yeah, Mudlark, I agree. We were all probably... Yeah, if you've never had many of these things, you can certainly count yourself lucky, I believe. Michelle said, people at my gym are waking up. It's sad because they got the jab and I can see they're so worried. I tried to support them, but make sure not to rub it in. I've got to say my experience, a lot of the people I think still believe they've done the right thing by getting it. I don't know many people that are waking up. It's been the same people, as far as I know, that have always I'm not seeing that, but it's good to hear though. Of course, in Australia, I believe some states were treated really quite severely, locked down for a lot longer than we were here in the United Kingdom. Although I do remember hearing that for a while when we were in lockdown, you guys weren't, so perhaps they just timed it differently. I am hoping though, Michelle, though, that everyone in Australia is now free to live their lives. Mudluck says Bill looks like a woman. Yeah, did we not bring up the picture of Bill Gates? I think we did briefly, didn't we? Misha says they tried to pull off a foot and mouth scare here, but it got shut down. I'm glad to hear that. It's down to the farmers, really. They're the ones who have to... Yeah. Yeah, on this poor picture of Bill, you can fairly easily see that he's not the most... That looks like a wig to me. I mean, okay, he could just be a guy wearing a wig. But if you were Bill Gates, I'm sure you could have ridiculously expensive hair implant treatments. You wouldn't have to buy some crappy looking wig like that. Who knows? Also, his shoulders are probably as wide as his hips. Don't know. Actually, they probably pad out as that. Who knows? Right, I'll go back to the live chat. KG says definitely a switched up couple. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. NR suggests Sarah Payne and the Soham murders. That's not a story I've ever looked that closely at, actually. What are the odds, though, that one of the main faces that you saw in the investigation, where one of the people doing the interviews for the girl that went missing happened to be the murderer? We may well have... We will go back to the BS19 story. Well, yeah, or I'll give you my thoughts on it at least at the end of the live stream about how it could have all been a lie. I am actually considering taking a very quick intermission, so while I don't want to steal people's work, I don't want to... Yeah, I am tempted to play a video. I will, of course, link it in the description. I might... This is a 9-minute video. I need just to maybe take 2 minutes just to fill my drink up, wash my hands or whatever. And when I come back, we will finish the second part and we'll look at the Soham murders in more details. If any of you guys have got much experience on it, or you know any sort of you know anything about the story that might be of interest, then yeah, let us know in the live chat. If there's anything else you want us to look at before we finish tonight, which will be in about an hour, okay? After the intermission, I generally try and finish within an hour. Okay, I'm going to share a link. Let me open it up in YouTube and then... Okay, yeah, I hope you guys... We've been going for over an hour now, so I wouldn't mind just refilling my drink. My mouth gets very dry. I do have sweets, but I don't want to be... Yeah. I'm going to put I'm going to share a link to this video that we're going to watch. This is the official narrative as far as I know. I'm guessing this guy is going to be giving us the usual story. Let me think what it's called. Soham video. And if you're watching this after the video's done and the live chat is no longer available, I will be putting a link in the description. Yeah, in the description of all my videos, I'll have what I call show links, where it's a link to any other video we might have featured in the stream. Yeah, so my huge thanks to this guy's top-notch documentaries for supplying the intermission to this video. I hope they don't mind. And if they do, then, well, yeah, I might give you a sub by the end of it. Or I'll give you a thumb up at the very least. I mean, if you guys want to do the same, why not? Okay, I'm going to mute myself and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Yeah, as Michelle says, time for a coffee in the toilet. Yeah, I need to toilet. Oh yeah, you guys don't need to know that. Alright, I'll be back in a sec. Hopefully the audio plays properly. Last week we had an issue with that, but I'll see how we get on. Okay, I'll see you in a minute. Actually, I will just put up a bit of text so people know what's going on. Back in a minute. Link to video in description. Oh. Okay, I guess I should have said live chat. We will get to the intermission in a minute. I appreciate your patience with this, okay? I just, yeah, if I'm going to be going too long, I do need to take 5. So, yeah. Enjoy this, the official narrative on the Soham murders, if you're not familiar with it, okay? Alright, I'll be back in a minute.
Welcome back to the Top Notch Documentaries YouTube channel. The sudden disappearances of 10-year-olds Jessica Chapman and Holly Wells and the unfolding of events which resulted in the announcement of a killer within a quiet rural community shocked the UK. When everything came to light, it was revealed that the murderer's name was Ian Huntley, his name synonymous with pain and despair to any UK viewer aware of true crime cases. The murders of these 2 young girls astounded the village of Soham in Cambridgeshire, where they vanished from on the 4th of August 2002. 2 young children were taken by this dangerous predator, his past history clearly stressing the danger that he posed to young girls. On this episode of Cases from the Past, I cover this disturbing case. I hope you enjoy. When they vanished whilst walking to their local sweet shop in Soham, Cambridgeshire. Soham is where both Jessica and Holly lived, and up until this point, the crime rate in the town was very low, near enough non-existent, and the community was typical for a town in the UK. Unfortunately, this case tarnished the peaceful community, creating a black cloud which still exists to this very day. Somewhere between their homes and the sweet shop, the girls went missing. The walk is short, and so police had a rough idea about where they could have been. The last person who had seen the girls at about 6:15 p.m. was a local man by the name of Ian Huntley. He was interested in helping out the investigators and had appeared on a news broadcast, being interviewed live about seeing the girls, and he ended up giving an account of what had transpired.
How do we know they were here at 6:15? Well, we have an eyewitness. Ian Huntley here is a familiar figure. Evening, Ian. You're the school caretaker. The girls, Jessica and Holly, would know you, and they saw you on the front doorstep. What went on?
Well, I don't know the girls. I stood on the front doorstep grooming my dog down. She'd run away and come back a bit of a mess. They just came across and asked how Miss Carr was, as she used to teach them at St Andrews. I just said she weren't very good, as she hadn't got the job. And they just says, please tell her that we're very sorry. And off they walked in the direction of the library over there.
Ian Huntley would quickly become a prime suspect, based on him being the last person claiming to have talked to the girls before they fell off the face of the earth. The missing persons cases quickly attracted the interest of the media, and a huge search would be conducted on the same day that the girls went missing. The search turned up nothing, and it wasn't until 13 days later, on the 17th of August 2002, that the girls' bodies were found dumped in the neighbouring county of Suffolk. The dump site was close to Ian Huntley's father's house. Earlier that same day, Ian Huntley and his partner Maxine Carr had both been arrested. The girls' clothing that they had worn on the day of their disappearances had been found charred, burned in Soham College, where Huntley was employed at the time. It would later emerge that Huntley had lured the girls into his house. He had done this in part through his association with Maxine Carr, who he told the girls was inside the house. The girls trusted Maxine Carr, and although she was out of town when everything occurred, she was well aware of Huntley's intent to murder and his perverted interest in young girls. What went down in the house isn't clear, but it's suspected that Huntley quickly took control of the girls and murdered them via strangulation. An autopsy of both of the girls' bodies suggested this grim fate, but given the summer heat and other factors, rapid body decomposition had taken place. Therefore, Whether any sexual assault had taken place or whether it had been part of the killer's motivations wasn't able to be confirmed. A jealous rage motivation was put forth because right before the suspected abduction time, Huntley had had an argument with Carr. He suspected her of cheating. Given his history relating to sex with children, I'd say that a sexual motivation is very likely in this case, and it sounds like a combination of Huntley feeling anger from the phone call and then a wrong place at the wrong time scenario for the two young girls, which culminated in the unforeseen.
Okay, I'm sorry, there seems to be a problem with the audio. Let me just check. Looks like... I'll keep the speaker on. No, that won't work. Okay, you'll have to play it through the speaker, unfortunately. Oh, right, the intermission isn't quite over, sorry guys, I just need 2 more minutes to get a drink. Yeah, sorry if it's not working, playing very well. Right, hopefully you can still hear it a bit.
Events which occurred. I'll now get into some of Huntley's background. Ian Huntley was born in the Lincolnshire town of Grimsby in 1974. Throughout his childhood he was bullied, and this resulted in him having to move schools because of the bullying. As he grew older, he chose to avoid taking his A-levels and instead picked employment. It was around this time that Huntley began eyeing young girls, all underage, and this interest resulted in him dating a 13-year-old when he was 18. Evidently, Huntley wasn't a normal teenager, and it wouldn't be long before he married an 18-year-old, and after just a few weeks ended up marrying her. The marriage fell through in no time, and Huntley began travelling around, constantly changing jobs and living situation. In 1998, Huntley had a child with a 15-year-old, and he was 24 at the time. A police investigation into Huntley's history would show that Huntley had sexual contact with at least 11 children from ages 11 to 17 between the mid-1990s to early 2000s. Huntley eventually received criminal charges following a burglary and separate R-word charge. Both cases had a lack of solid evidence though, and so neither resulted in any conviction. If it had have resulted in a conviction, then Huntley likely wouldn't have been employed as a caretaker at school. It was in Grimsby that Huntley met Maxine Carr, and the pair had a toxic relationship. On one occasion, a man saw Huntley beating her outside their flat. The man intervened but ended up regretting doing so. As it turned out, both Huntley and Carr were very similar. Both were toxic people who could present a good image when they needed to. They were adept at lying, and this became perfectly clear much later on. It was likely this ability to present a good image that resulted in both of them managing to find work in Soham. They moved there in 2001, and whilst Huntley worked as a caretaker at the college opposite his home, Carr was a primary school teaching assistant.
Okay, that's the end of our intermission. Sounds like you're very far behind on the delay. My apologies if that's the case. Right, hang on a second. Let me just check my audio is coming through okay. Yeah, I'm not sure my desktop audio ain't working anymore. Let me just try that one more time.
However, a background check on Huntley had been conducted as he was working with children sounds unlikely. This case has been seen by many as a failure by both vetting companies and the police, and is easy.
Okay, maybe the audio wasn't too bad. I'll have to... If it was, my apologies, okay? Yeah, what I do plan to do... Let's see, how far back are you? Yeah, I will be putting some edited pieces of this live stream up over on my other channel, Chronicle of the Unconvinced, and over on 153 News, maybe on BitChute, I don't know, I'm not big on that channel, but on, well, it's okay actually. But yeah, that's the Ian Huntley case. Tone Dial has showed us a link where he says we can find the information. Howbad.info. I hope there's nothing too grisly on here. How bad is my... Oh, this is Advert. Right, okay. Sorry, I thought this was something related to Ian Huntley. We can... Yeah, I will invite you guys to have a look at that. How... Batch codes and associated deaths. Wow. Please consider... Okay. Incredible website, Tonedal. Thank you. Right, we are going to have a look at Ian Huntley, though. I'm not sure how much you heard of Top Notch Documentaries' description of it. I'm sure he followed the official narrative right down. Let's see, hang on. Right down to, to the letter, every single word from Wikipedia. We will see him giving an interview on TV. I mean, what? Hopefully my computer isn't going to run too slow tonight. Right, what was the name of the guy? I can't even remember it. Committed by... It says the victim, Holly Wells. So what was the killer's name? Huntley, of course, Ian Huntley, right. Press interview, alerted police. Let's see if they show it. I mean, can you believe that the actual murderer, well, a press photograph of Huntley's car led police to track down the old tyres which linked him to the scene. So the press were taking pictures of this guy from the beginning. Is that him biting his nails, looking worried? Man in a wig, maybe? I'm not sure. Pretty wide chin. Eyes are quite a big width between the eyes. Women, generally don't have such wide features as this, but I guess we all look different. Do we not see a video of Ian Huntley's interview? I want to find it. I don't know about these kids. Could that be a Photoshop? To be honest, looking at it, again, this is the sort of story at the time certainly would have been met with horror because, if we believe the press, yeah, it shocked the world, as all these stories do. But yeah, they always manage to get their adverts in there. They've got Adidas, I believe they might have been a sponsor of this one, because also Vodafone, I think, was on the girls, on the Manchester United tops that they were wearing. Ian Huntley interview. Videos. Hopefully they haven't scrubbed it. Huntley apologises for crimes. Good morning, Britain. So, are we actually going to see him? For some reason, we've got to watch it second-hand or from someone else videoing the screen. Have they actually got rid of? Is there no? Maxine Carr, she managed to be interviewed as well. How come there's so many interviews with this guy before the actual murder? Alright, maybe we should have gone with one of those other ones. I don't think that's going to give us what we're looking for. Alright, we'll try this one. See what we can hear. Hopefully the audio works, actually.
How do we know they were here at 6:15? Well, we have an eyewitness. Ian Huntley here is a familiar figure. Evening, Ian. You're the school caretaker. Girls dressed...
I hope you can hear this. How staged is that? It looks like, we just walked on the street and came across someone that that was an eyewitness. Terrible.
Ian Huntley here is a familiar figure. Evening, Ian. You're the caretaker. The girls, Jessica and Holly, would know you, and they saw you on the front doorstep. What went on?
Well, I don't know the girls. I was still on the front doorstep, grooming my dog down. She'd run away and come back a bit of a mess. They just came across and asked how Miss Carr was, and she used to teach them at St Andrews. I just said she weren't very good, and she hadn't got the job. And they just said, please tell her that we're very sorry. And off the walk.
What did he say about she wasn't very good at her job or something? They asked how Miss Carr was. She used to teach them, but she wasn't very good at her job. I want to hear that again. I hope you can hear it. I'm not sure what the audio's like on your end. Apologies if it's terrible. The picture quality is certainly terrible.
And asked how Miss Carr was, and she used to teach them at St Andrews.
She used to teach them at St Andrews.
She said she weren't very good, and she hadn't got it.
She weren't very good.
And they just said,
and got the job. Okay.
Tell her that we're very sorry. And
she wasn't very good at her job, so they're telling her very sorry that she didn't get the job at the school.
Walked in the direction of the library over there.
Yeah. Was anyone else interviewed about this case? Or was that the only person they wanted to speak to? A bit like this guy, Stuart Hazel, and he even appeared on Jeremy Kyle. Oh, Jeremy Kyle. This is another one. No, that's not the guy who appeared on Jeremy Kyle. Sorry, that was another one. He looked identical to him, though. But yeah, this is someone else, a murderer who was interviewed by the press. What are the odds?
When Hazel spoke of the last time he saw it here, it wasn't
fake hair as much, maybe. I suppose I should be putting links to these videos that we're watching, but
body language that betrayed him. It was biology.
When she walked past you and out to the door, did she say anything?
She said, goodbye. I said, well, make sure you're back at 6. So, yeah. And that was it, then the door closed and she walks out.
At this point, you'll see in the video the tone of his ears change even, giving us a clue that his blood pressure is increasing. In the ears and the nostrils, we have some very fine capillaries, and when the blood pressure increases, that's the first place that you may feel it. You can see them start to turn red.
No, he doesn't change. The only thing that changes colour is the ears, and that's... Well, no, they were what colour he was all along, I think. Another horrible story. That's the other one, Mick Philpott. To me, and now we got Karen Matthews faking it to a crime. How convenient in a lot of these cases that we actually get to see the murderer interviewed before they get found out. Right, we're not going to stay on this subject all night. My apologies. Murderer says it's just that YouTube video being quiet. Your audio is fine. Yeah, I thought I'd solved that. Maybe I'll have to look into what I'm doing wrong with the audio. Because I did have it where the videos were coming across at a decent audio. But Mudlight says Maxine's Carr's face always looked peculiar to me. Definitely, yeah, as I said, she had very wide features. Right. Yeah, I suppose I could... Yeah, the only other one I want to compare this guy to, whatever his name was, Stuart Hazel, and that would be Mick Philpott. He just looks like definitely an older version. But I don't know why they just had very similar... Everything about them was quite similar. If you're not familiar with Mick Philpott, he took part in loads of TV programmes, with one with Jeremy Kyle, one with that, used to be a politician, can't think what her name is now, and then he tried to do something where he would he wanted to appear to be a hero where he saved his kids, but ended up supposedly killing 2 of them. And he was also interviewed after the case. So he's now known as a child killer. But apparently it was accidental. Yeah, Jeremy Kyle. Guess who Jeremy Kyle interviewed? What was that person's name? We looked at him last week. Holly Dance. I'm sure they did. He's now on... Here we go. Yeah, Jeremy Kyle is now doing some show on, I don't know, Talk TV. And of course, ever since seeing on the Jeremy Kyle show, they interviewed survivors of the Pulse nightclub shooting, which has been, absolutely destroyed by people investigating that story. It's nothing more than just made for cameras, basically. So here we got him interviewing Holly, Jeremy Kyle, Pulse. I made a couple of videos about the, let's see, Pulse shooting. Maybe they've taken it off, actually. I know that used to be on here, but I think they removed all the Jeremy Kyle YouTube channel that he used to have. But he definitely did an interview with the survivors, so that is all I think of now when... and of course it gave Graham, I don't know if you remember Graham on the Jeremy Kyle show, it gave him an opportunity to come out and say that, as part of it was an attack on the gay community, the usual crap. Right, Anna says, do you think football celebrations after they score is to show who they really worship? Do you know what, Anna? I did do a video about... Let me think. Let's see if I can see him. I'll just find my YouTube channel in a second. And we'll find a video I did about football, one particular footballer celebration. Let's see. It was Roberto Firmino. This is one of the only examples I can really think of. Let's see, where was it? Yeah, and it asks that question. Oh, do you know what? I never showed this video over on YouTube, actually. I might... I'll do it after the stream, though. Where was it? It was an old one. It was before I started doing the fake baby videos, I think. Here we go. We're getting into my stages of doing sports videos. Here we go. No, it isn't. Nearly. There we go. Firmino's symbolic celebration declares what team he is on. So yeah, NR, I'm with you on that. Oh, yeah, it was one of these celebrations, and there he is with, I don't know how many points that star has got on his arm. Yeah, covering the one eye. And I remember also, again, this was an image I put on Twitter. Let me just find myself on Twitter a minute. Yeah, it was Mohamed Salah, and he did a particular pose where he put himself in a position of a tarot card, and put himself in the hangman. And yeah, I did point that out, of course. Bear with me a minute while I find it. Shouldn't take me a minute. But yeah, I do actually, I'm in agreement with you on that one, NR. Right, media, here we are. Might take a little while to scroll to the bottom, but we'll get there in a minute. Shame you can't see it in a... Right. Hey, there's Mr. White, by the way. That is the white cat who I mentioned at the beginning, who went missing. Right, where are we? Sorry, it shouldn't take too long. My apologies. Yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, by the way, there's a link in the description to this one. Goodness me, where was it? It was a while back. It was within the last few years, at least, I think. Here's some of the images I put out various places. Stop living in fear, throw away your masks. That was my advertising campaign. The no thanks one for the NHS. Yeah, I think I put that one on a t-shirt on, what do you call it? Oh, Teespring or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, no thanks rather than thanks NHS. It was sort of like a mix-up. Come on, where is... Oh, that's my post about comparing people coming back to nightclubs. By the way, how much rubbish was this? I hope you can see this image all right. You will need a passport to party at nightclubs from the end of September, announces Boris Johnson. Any truth in that? No, don't think so. Don't think you need a passport to do anything. They were convincing people of all sorts of rubbish to convince them to take a pop, as it were. Come on, where's my hangman image? Yeah, by the time I find it, I'll probably forgot why I was even looking for it. Oh, that was my picture of Venus at 050920, and I also got the Cassiopeia constellation. So yeah, if you like pictures of the stars, if you like pictures of street art, graffiti, all sorts of nonsense really. Not nonsense, but yeah. My Twitter account is the place. That was the only time I ever put a mask on public transport. I thought stuff it. Well, after weeks of harassment from train crew, I finally cracked and put a mask on. Wonder how long till someone points out the obvious, and that is my mouth isn't even being covered. But right, we will get down to the hangman in a minute. Oh, there's Rascal Fantastical, as I used to call him. Beautiful black and white cat that he lived with us for the last couple of years of his life. Yeah, really sad to see him go. Now, as I was saying, I'm going to be editing some of these videos, some of my live streams, and putting them up. When I do this section, if I do this section talking about footballers and there was another lovely cat that came to live with us for a short while before the owners came and took him, which is absolutely reasonable and fair enough. Yeah, I will be cutting out all this scrolling. Craven A cigarettes will not affect your throat, they used to tell us. Right, we must be getting near the hangman in a minute. Trust me, we are. I appreciate your patience. Oh, there was my thing about the Great Dinosaur Hoax. Take a whale skeleton, add a couple of legs to it, and you've got yourself a dinosaur. Right, pride comes before destruction. Some freak at the whatever you call it. More images of Rascal. Yeah, this is. It's getting ridiculous. There it is. We got there in the end. This is where I edit point for later. Right. Anyone know the significance of this goal celebration by Mo Salah? They always slip in gestures in these games. You have great non. Oh, that was. I specifically asked Russian vids. He's not on that channel anymore. Account suspended, but he's still up there. Yeah, as far as I know, that's a tarot card, is it not? Tarot cards are obviously, well, they're fortune telling, aren't they? So yeah, I do agree with you, NR, that football celebrations do give a lot away. Also, I was wanting to look at, I don't know if you remember, while we're on the subject of sport, if you follow the YouTuber Reboot the Matrix, he made a great video on the Tyson Fury boxing match against whoever that American guy was, I can't remember his name now, showing how the punches really weren't landing particularly well. Now if I do a search for, let's see, Johnson, was it his name Johnson? AJ. Oh, I'm terrible with these names. The boxing match from last night, if I go to, I can't think of his surname, but it's either Jackson or Johnson. Anthony Joshua, that's it. Anthony Joshua. Yeah, he took him out. Yeah, I'm totally of the opinion now with someone like this guy. After he quits boxing, you could see him turn up in UFC, for example. And the thing with UFC, what do people in UFC often go over and take part in? WWE wrestling. I'm of the opinion, unfortunately, I'm sorry if you like your boxing, but the whole thing is fixed, in my opinion. Especially, well, these high-profile boxing matches, probably rigged from the start. They managed to get these great, let's see, let's see, they managed to get these, what are basically press pictures. They probably even get lookalikes beforehand, or who knows what, to, like this, for example. At no time, I bet, are they even hitting people hard enough to create this sort of response. If you look at that bout, I expect it would get taken down for copyright now, but I mean, has he even got his gum shield in? It doesn't look like it. Who knows? Yeah, I'm very suspicious of all these high-profile boxing matches. If you watch how these two go at each other, they're basically hitting each other's gloves. It's pretty, dodgy sport, of course. And I believe it comparable to UFC and WWE. When they do crossovers, like they frequently do, I always think it's a bit weird. Right, how are we? By the way, we've gone 11:15 now, so I will be winding down very shortly. I appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. Right, Mudlark says, I noticed that Rachel Daly from the England women's team has a triangle tattoo on her arm. And you were listening to an audiobook of Leviticus from the Old Testament. I'm sure I heard that we must not get marks on our bodies. I'll listen again to make sure I heard correctly. Yeah, I have read Leviticus, actually, fairly recently. I use an American translation, just as that was the only one I had for a long time, and it was one I became familiar with. I like the fact that, but anyway, I'm not reading the King James, which maybe when I come around to reading it a second, again, when I finish the the set of books, I'll probably read a different translation. Not the one I'm reading is Jehovah's Witness version. I originally liked that they used the name of God, but of course it isn't the name of God. Anyway, Rachel Daly from the English Women. Let's have a look. Yeah. Anyway, if you watch the highlight of these two, I'm not going to, but I remember Mudlark Digging at the Thames did a great one with Tyson Fury where they slowed down the punches. You can see they're not seriously trying to hurt each other. They're always hitting each other's gloves. They always, it's they what you call pull punches, which is where they pull back before they hurt each other in these sports. That's where the term pulling punches comes from. Right, Rachel Daly. Let's have a look at her tattoo. Is it this one? Is this the person? Oh, here, I guess. Yeah, a lot of them do obviously get absolutely covered in tattoos. I don't see her trying. I'm not sure what that thing is on her wrist, but so yeah, that I believe you're correct. Tattoos aren't particularly popular. Yeah, aren't something according to the holy scriptures that we're supposed to do to ourselves. So yeah, I agree with you on that one, Mudlark. Oh, someone's made a good video about the fight of day, Mudlark. Thank you for sharing that. We will perhaps we'll have a look when we finish tonight. We'll play out watching that one because, yeah, we'll only be going for maybe another 10 minutes actually. Can't go too long or I start talking absolute gibberish. Yeah, believe me, it's I'm really impressed by people that can live stream for 4 or 5 hours solid and still make sense at the end of it, because I struggle. I do 2 hours and that's when I say, I will need to finish. Also, my computer lets me know when it's had enough, and it's normally about the 2 hour mark. Just sorry if I've missed anyone's comments. Hopefully not. Right. Yeah, so in summary then, tonight's thumbnail went with this story about a warning over another new variant. They're bringing out horror stories, and it just led me to thinking, if you read down here, of course they mentioned Kate Garraway's husband, Derek Draper, back in hospital for operation to repair kidney damage. They would have us believe that the only reason most people probably fully believe that the reason this guy is in hospital is because he's suffering from long COVID or whatever they want to call it. Have we literally just sat through 2 years? Bear in mind, the Bill Gates Foundation, who are very good at making money, you could say, in line, along with members of parliament, world leaders, the WEP, and the health organisations, all the people these videos are not allowed to disagree with. Quite often, if you get a strike, it will say that we don't accept any videos that disagree with the World Health Organization or local medical advice or something. So yeah, I'm not really allowed to say anything that disagrees with them. However, could it be that we've all just had to put up with a 2-year advertising campaign to convince everyone around us that the only chance they've got of not having to worry about things like MA.4, your only choice of not worrying about such crap is, what is it they say? Yeah, something about, I mean, well, let's read this one line. Immunology professor Danny Altman, author of a recent paper in The Guardian, sorry, not a medical paper, it was just something he wrote in The Guardian, about how Omicron infections were a poor booster of immunities to the other infections. Does that line make sense? Poor booster, that means a rubbish vaccine. You add it, but of course they're allowed to say it. And if they convince you the vaccines you've had so far are rubbish, then perhaps they can convince you to take an even better one. These people, of course, also heavily recommend. Right, a Lancet study has confirmed for the first time how long infection, yeah. And then they talk about, this never happened, legally enforced self-isolation periods. I don't think they ever had the right to legally enforce someone to stay away, to stay at home, unless you committed a criminal offence, of course. Yeah, they've now been scrapped. I don't think they ever existed. And guidance is currently to do just 5 days. Yeah, but apparently these people that do this inspection and want us to believe in BA.4 and BA.5, they're calling for a return to the requirement of 2 negative lateral flow tests before leaving self-isolation. These are the people keeping these ridiculous lateral flow tests in place. Yeah, they also, I'm sure I read somewhere in here about them wanting to suggest bringing masking back. Maybe they were just talking about self-isolation, I don't know. It's enough to make me sick, I know that much. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think back when this rubbish first started in early 2020 and none of us really knew what we were in for. We knew they were up to something. Some people maybe went with the idea that it was to explain away illnesses from 5G. Was it just in the end that they just wanted to sell us a vaccine? I think we're supposed to believe that if that vaccine had been available before this guy got it, then he would have been alright. Yeah, I've covered this story before in the past. Mudlark says, Omicron is an anagram of on come here. Yeah. We were looking at an old picture of the football player. She's had lots of tattoos on her arms at the Euro 2020s. Okay. Right, I don't want to steal someone else's video about the fight, but perhaps we'll watch a little preview of it, a couple of minutes just as we finish the live stream. And if you want to see the whole thing for yourself, then you'll have to check whoever's video this is out. Suggested by Mudlark. Hopefully they won't mind me using it. It goes on for 11 minutes. Perhaps we'll do like a minute and a half preview of it or something, just as we finish the stream, so you can get a taste for it. Boxing. Okay. It does look good. I'll share a link to it then. No, actually no. Mudlark has of course already shared the link, so I don't need to, but I will put it in the description of this video if you're watching it after the case. Right, before we go, however, I will... Oh, I've still got this thing up about being back in a minute. I've been back a minute. I've been back a lot more than a minute now. Okay, let me just start winding down the video. As I say my thanks and appreciation to the following people: Mudlark Digging Up the Thames, NR, Tone Dial, Misha from Oz, KG, Who else have we had? Susan Byrne, Crazy Hippo Lady. And if anyone else is tuned in and I haven't mentioned your name and you want to get a shout out, just leave a comment in the live chat and I will do so. Yeah, did I really answer the overall topic about, well, yeah, were the whole 2 years just a reason to give people all this rubbish? Yeah, I mean, what with the potion, as it were, some saying being quite harmful, they said, we'll never get people to take this. And they say, well, if we convince them that their life depends on it, then we can present them something and say, it might not necessarily be safe, but if you don't take it, well, of course, you're going to get ill anyway. They would have had us believe. So yeah, was it just a desperate attempt to get people to believe that they had no choice but to take the poison? Who knows? Right. Okay. I thank everyone for taking the time to tuning in this evening. And before I finish, I would ask, if you haven't done so already, if maybe you would consider hitting the thumbs up button and subscribing if you're not already, and sharing on social media. I'd also like to thank my supporter over on Patreon, which is Linda Mac. Oh, wrong one. There's a QR code on the screen now if you want to follow me over on Patreon, see what it's all about. Yeah, it's also in the description, of course. Thanks to Linda Mac. Okay, yeah, I will be back next Sunday, no doubt, for another live stream, and I will be uploading some stuff. I am gonna look closer at the Archie story. Yeah, as well as I might put a short video up on my other channel about the Mr. White, the white cat. Yeah, either way, I hope you can make it next week. Right, hopefully the audio will work on this video. I'm not sure quite what to expect. Ooh. We're going to play a minute of it, maybe a minute and a half of it, just so you can get a taste of the video as recommended by Mudlark Digging Up the Thames. I'm going to mute myself and hopefully you'll still hear it even with the audio muted. Thanks. I'm just writing a little message to put on the bottom of the screen. Thanks everyone and good night. Yeah, have a great week. Michelle invites us all to sleep well and a nice day for washing hair, so I'm sorted. Glad to hear it, Michelle. Hope you have a wonderful Monday. And yeah, we'll be catching up with you soon. Yeah, thanks for that. Good day and night to you also. Yeah, good night to everyone and thanks for taking the time to tune in. I'm going to mute myself and I'll catch up with you. If not in the week, then I'll see you. Then I'll be back next Sunday. Okay. Yeah, bye Mudlark in the live chat. Thanks guys. Always great to catch up with you. And I'm going to say goodnight. Cheerio. And here is a minute and a half video from as suggested by Mudlark about the boxing match. Right, night.
In this video, I'm going to talk about Anthony Joshua and what appears to be an MK Ultra moment. So after he fought Alexander Usyk, he had this kind of strange rant in the ring, and they were trying to stop him from speaking. He started mentioning Sonny Liston, and it was a very strange rant, and he was going on about his childhood. And it looked like he had an MK Ultra moment. are some of the top sports stars under some kind of mind control? Anyway, Joshua lost the fight and he had this strange rant and strange mood swings, and he started chucking his belts outside the ring. Now, Anthony Joshua has not been the same boxer since he lost to Andy Ruiz, a Mexican fighter who he was supposed to beat. So he lost to this no-hoper Mexican fighter. I believe that the boxing match was thrown. Boxing has a huge history of match fixing. It also has a huge history of gambling and Freemasonry. It was created by Freemasons. It distracts people's attentions, and it focuses all the public's attention on something which is not important, and it also takes all their money. And what I believe is that at certain times what you're watching is similar to UFC. That when they lose money, something always strange happens. When there's a huge favourite and the bookies are going to lose money, always something strange happens. And so we have this Anthony Joshua. Now, he was not the same fighter since he lost to Andy Ruiz, and I believe those fights were both thrown. And the rematch as well. They were controlled fights, and the point of it was to make money, to get the Mexican market interested in boxing. Now, when Joshua lost that fight, he didn't seem too upset. He was actually laughing. Yet when he
Okay, yeah, actually, thanks Mudluck for sharing that video. It is really interesting. I am going to watch the rest of it because he says a lot of stuff that I agree with. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Right, I'm going to let this music play out for a few minutes, because if I stop the live stream too soon, then it will cut out halfway through you watching the last bit of that video, because it seems to be quite delayed tonight. And you can still hear me. Yeah, I'll let you listen to this music for a few minutes as I start shutting everything down. And thanks everyone for tuning in, particularly those who took the time to say hello in the live chat. Apologies if I missed your comment. Right, I'm over and out for the night. Have a great week, everyone, and yeah, good night.